Hi guys. So Ember and Cameron and I thought up this project that will help, we hope, kids to learn multiple subject matter in a kind of cohesive project as a whole. We're going to go into detail about that. To start off, we'll have Ember introduce the topic in general.
So we're doing an interactive storytelling project, and this is going to incorporate science and language arts. And what am I saying? I'm talking about the learning outcomes. So what we really wanted the kids to come out being able to do is we wanted them to be able to conduct their own research on their own. Yeah, that's what own means. Yeah. And we also wanted them to have a basic understanding of the different climates that animals can inhabit, because our storytelling project is going to be about animals, because kids love animals, and it's part of natural science, which we all find interesting, like planet science, earth science.
Big topic in elementary school.
Yeah, and like who doesn't want to go and learn about like their favorite animals and stuff? It's cool.
Exactly.
So so that's one of the main learning outcomes. We also want them to have a better understanding of storytelling in English language arts. So that's going to be like taught in the class, and then like the way we're going to assess it is generally like that project. To talk more about the subject, I'm going to pass it to Miss Cameron.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit more about the age group that we chose and why, and more on the subject matters. So for the age group, we decided to kind of work in the grade 5 age range, just because any earlier than that and the understanding of the animals and the undersea life is a little bit more basic than what we wanted to look into, and any older than that, it's just kind of more into biology, which isn't something we kind of wanted to look into. Also, we kind of decided that it would be cross-curricular into English because it adds, as Ember put it, that storytelling aspect that helps develop a feeling of creativity that kind of would motivate them into the future projects.
Which is also important, like a huge aspect why we're using technology for it is because we think that it can really like strengthen the amount of creativity that students can use. Because some students aren't good at drawing or cutting or painting or whatever, but some students can really excel when they are using technology.
And like one of our things that we like to assume is that students don't necessarily know right away how to do things, so in order to give them a more solid knowledge on these things, we provided them with an example through the PowerPoint.
And I'll talk about the PowerPoint in general. Well, they'll be using PowerPoint in the project. It's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure kind of concept where they get to use the slides themselves would be the pages to their storybook in a sense, and then in order to make it a choose-your-adventure kind of thing, there had to be different aspects of which they choose between two options, and they go on this journey with the characters of their story. So with the use of hyperlinks, they'd be able to skip through slides on the PowerPoint presentation and skip to certain slides that follow along with that specific plot line. So that's what would make it more interesting, and that, like Ember said, it gives a more freeing experience to their artistic expression. They'll be able to become more involved and engaged in the kind of story that they're writing and the project that they're doing. And the fact that it incorporates two separate subjects is a huge thing as well. We just want to emphasize the fact that it's great for children that age range where they're old enough to like be interested in the subject, but not old enough where it starts to become boring in a way. So that also is a big aspect of it.
Well, I think also with adding the PowerPoint aspect, it kind of gives that fun point of the presentation that when you get older, you kind of lose that. Mm-hmm. So,
True.
Like, I don't know, but I had fun doing this, so that the fact that I had fun doing this, and it's not even for my age range, would mean kind of...
Oh yeah, we had a lot of fun working on it. It was really fun, and we got kind of obsessed with it, but that's a good sign, I think, because then the kids will enjoy it, and at the same time, there's also the aspect that the technology itself is, at that age they start becoming more introduced to technology in the classroom, and with how technology is advancing nowadays, it's important to incorporate that already. And since they're going to be introduced to it anyways, you should introduce it in a creative way rather than when they start getting used to always having to make super strict and academic and very structured presentations, whereas this gives them a break from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Like, I mean, kind of like what we're doing right now. Like, it's very free range. Like, we're discussing our project and we're, like, working through it. And, like, we really want, like I was saying before, we really want to promote autonomy and creativity. And towards the end, we're even going to be promoting group work and peer support, because the project is going to end by having them partner up and they're going to read each other's stories. And at the end of, like, their stories, they're going to be able to give each other constructive criticism, which is another topic that can be discussed throughout the class. And I think every class should have constructive criticism, because it does create that, like, community within the classroom.
Definitely. Peer evaluation is a huge part of life in general, and
Yeah.
you're going to be criticized throughout your entire, adult life, so why not get a head start and be able to take it well and make sure everyone understands that it's also a sense of fun in a way
Yeah.
that, like, oh, you could provide a suggestion, but it's obviously, it's their creative element, like it's their what they developed, so it gives a great familiarity to it.
Plus, because it's going to be a project where it's fun and creative, but there's also research aspects put into it, the students are going to be able to learn from each other's projects. So if one kid, like you did, if one person does Under the Sea and then one person does the desert, somebody's going to be able to learn about desert animals and Under the Sea because they did that.
So as a whole, they get to more enriching
Exactly.
experience, and I think that I think everyone should be, and I think all three of us are very passionate about the fact that creativity should always be integrated into every subject matter. So the subject, making science and maybe even like math and other academic courses more creative is a great way for children to feel more,
And
prone to become more involved and hands-on in it. Right, exactly. And so that aspect with the English as a cross-curricular, competency, that's great with the whole concept that we developed, because I think it's a smart idea.